Hi Soul Tribe, this is Renee Asiri from InsideJobHealing.com coming to you for the week of January 4th, 2021. So what's going on with you guys? It's a new year, new energies. How are you feeling? So if you could look back to January 1st, the New Year's Day, I just want to mention that people were a little cray that day, very sensitive, being triggered very easily. Some of their residual wounding was coming up to the surface. So hopefully you're not taking things personally. If people have accidentally lashed out at you, it's really about them, not you. So don't take it personal. It's vibrational, not personal. So that's kind of what I noticed going on at the beginning of the year. The energy was a little bit wonky. And now we are starting to come into the pre-new moon energies. So the new moon is happening in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. It's happening on January 12th and 13th, which is next week. So for those of you that are sensitive like myself, I'm sure you're already feeling those new moon energies, right? And we already, on the 21st, when we entered that portal, that wormhole, right, of winter solstice and the age of Aquarius starting, we wrote out our intentions for 2021 and the next 20 to 35 year cycle. We kissed goodbye our old patterns and things like that. Well, the universe has us doing a little bit more work because with these new moon energies and, the start of the year and stuff like that, this is a very volatile time a little bit cosmically because you have Saturn, which is the old guard, right? Which is, limitation, fear, and all that, and the status quo kind of like having a little bit of tension with change, Uranus, right? And kind of changing things up. And you have Mars in Taurus, which is kind of giving us that energy of the time is now to take action. Saturn's like, what's the plan? Having said all that, we're still dealing with letting go with some of the residual patterns. So we're not completely out of the woods yet. We are starting a new cycle. However, if we have any kind of unresolved, residual patterns from the past or wounding or anything like that, you're like, oh my God, I healed that pattern. Well, it's coming up again. Any money blocks, abundance blocks, rearing its ugly head, fear of the unknown, because right now we're in a situation where we're coming up with a new game plan. It's a new cycle, especially with this new moon energy. We're supposed to think of things a different way. As a collective, we're shifting our paradigm, we're shifting our perspective on life, and we're stepping into something new. And so in order to do that, what we have to do is let go of our old thinking, right? So that is really scary, and to step into this new terrain and not quite knowing what it's like, because remember, during our full moon in Cancer, recently, we were feeling our way through the darkness. So for a lot of us, we're still in that kind of fear of the unknown. This is uncharted territory, guys. Like, this is the first time we've been, in the age of Aquarius, into an age that is more spiritual and less material. So, be patient with yourself and stay present. So it's like almost like, okay, well, where are we headed, right? Like, we're asking ourselves this question, and the ego does not like change. But the ego, needs some direction, right? Which means that we need to surrender and let go and allow for the divine vision to work through us. We need to be present and not project ourselves into the future. And we need to take it one day at a time, because ultimately we've never been here before. So be patient, be gentle with yourself as you work out the details, right? And create a plan for Saturn and this Capricorn and new moon. And also just take it one day at a time and be present, and try not to look too far ahead, right? So besides those kind of energies, I have to say, it's almost like the way that it was described to me by the guides is like we have this blank canvas in front of us, right? And that's really, really daunting, because there's nothing more daunting as an artist or a creative is to have a blank canvas. So you're co-creating with spirit in the realm of possibilities, in the quantum field, and you can literally create anything you want And most of us are being called to create heaven on earth, okay? And so we don't want to make a mistake. We want to do it just right, but nobody gave us a manual. We've never been here before. We don't know what the first step or the second or the third step. We don't know what the game plan is, right? We're literally feeling our way through the darkness and the unknown. So there is some pressure, there is some stress, there is some anxiety because we are being asked to co-create a future that we haven't mapped out quite yet, right? So like I said, I ask you to be patient and gentle with yourself and to feel your way through it and to take it one day at a time and make your plan one day at a time, because you already know what the end goal is, but you're not quite sure what the steps are, right? So besides that, I just encourage you to have the courage to make that first stroke, right, on that blank canvas, and to be very mindful and intentional about the relationships you call in, the things that you buy, the things that you wear, the home you live in, the place you live in. Only bring things into your vibration that you love, that are hell yes. And if it's a no, leave it at the door, because this whole cycle is about a reset. We just went through a reset, right? So if this video resonates with you, please share it, please like it, please comment, please send me a message and share with at least 3 or more of your friends and spread the word, because these are very, very unprecedented times and people need to have this information so they can work with the collective energies and the energies of the cosmos to move them forward. So as we move forward with this momentous energy of action, okay, just know that you can't make any mistakes as long as you follow your heart and you are present and you are mindful and you are conscious and you only invite things that you love into your sphere. Okay, what else did I want to talk about? So this is something that came up in one of the sessions with my clients this morning, and it was something that was downloaded before I even had a chance to talk to her this morning. So I want to describe to you what has happened on the 21st, right? Because we were all saying, oh, the 21st is such a big deal. It's the first time in 800 years. We're starting this new 200-year era cycle and all this stuff and so on and so forth. And we have Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius, which is a very progressive sign. That's another reason why we feel that change is in the air, because Jupiter is a very expansive, it's very lucky, it's a growth planet, and so it just expands everything. But then we have Saturn, which is like, whoa, the old guard doesn't like to change, right? Wants to keep things the way they are. So we're having this clash between, creating something new and then staying in the old. So we have this little bit of tension going on. So it's really up to you to leapfrog to this higher timeline and take advantage of the 21st portal and really find yourself in a different timeline. But that requires a lot of courage. It requires you letting go of the past that no longer serves you. And it requires you having faith and trust in the unknown. Even though you can't see it and feel it and touch it, you cannot get validation. That's what the ego wants. But the higher self is guiding you, and you have to trust divine guidance, right? And that takes a lot of courage, my friends, because what is faith? It's faith when you believe without seeing. That is the definition of faith. And so that is what Spirit's asking you to do right now. That's what I'm inviting you to do, is to be brave and courageous, to trust your instincts, to trust your intuition, to feel your way through, and whatever you resonate with, go for it. There is no right or wrong. Whatever doesn't resonate with you, don't feel bad. Don't people please, say no and leave it at the door. Okay. And so the analogy that they came up with, that the guides came up with, that I want to mention is the 21st was kind of like, so I'm going to give you this analogy. So if you have a jar, right, like a clear jar that you have, and you have the lid, right? So the 21st was almost like taking the lid off, okay, and really, really kind of creating an atmosphere where anything's possible and where you're not limited by the past dramas and traumas that we've experienced in the past. And so because we are so conditioned, right? So if you have like a grasshopper or some sort of bug that's able to jump out of the jar, when you close the jar with the grasshopper in it, it hits its head against the ceiling, and that's very painful. And so that conditions the grasshopper not to jump beyond a certain height. Well, that's what we've been conditioned to do, is to stay in our lane, right? To stay in our comfort zone, to stay small, right? So now you're basically being invited by the universe to say, well, it's safe now. It's the age of Aquarius. Forget what you knew in the past. It's time to fly, right? But then if you're so used to being bogged down by this, this lid, you're like, oh no, you forgot how to fly, and jump out and be limitless because you're so conditioned to be small and limited, right? And to hit your head against the proverbial ceiling. So with the 21st, it's almost like the universe has taken the jar, the lid off the jar. And right now we're in this stage where we're manifesting this new reality. We have a blank slate. We have this white canvas, but it's like we've forgotten how to create. We've forgotten how to be limitless. We forgot how to fly because we've been bogged down by karma and by trauma and wounded psychics for so long that it's conditioned us not to jump out of the jar, not to jump very high, and to stay very small. So now that the lid is off, now you have to remember who you are. You have to remember that playing small doesn't serve you and doesn't serve anyone, right? And that you are limitless. You're a multidimensional being, and you are co-creating your now reality in every moment with spirit. And you are powerful beyond measure, and you can manifest anything that you're in alignment with, literally, instantly. If you're in alignment with something, you're going to manifest it overnight. Right? But the problem is we're not in alignment. That's why we don't attract through the law of attraction this new reality that we desire. And usually we want something so badly, we end up pushing it away and introducing resistance. And resistance, whatever you resist, persists. So what I'm asking you to do is to remember who you are. And remember that now that the lid is open, you can jump out and fly out of the jar, and you could just forget about all the conditioning of the past and all of the struggles and all of the suffering and all of the trauma and drama. That time is over. It is safe. It is safe to come out of the spiritual closet, to expand your gifts, to share your gifts with the world, to raise consciousness, to co-create the reality of your dreams. And again, be patient. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time. There's a lot of opposing forces in the universe that's creating that tension, but follow that instinct, follow that momentum, take action, take inspired action that resonates with you, take it one day at a time, do what feels right, feel into the future, but not too far ahead, stay present, stay focused, and most importantly, believe, because the universe has your back. And don't forget, it's all about faith and trust. Love you guys. It's Rena with InsideJobHealing.com. And remember, next week is the new moon, big time for change. So it's time to start thinking about your intentions, and it is time to take action. Love you guys.